Hey YouTube, this is Rescue Me Some Park Fan 62. It is Sunday, January 29th at around 4 o'clock. Um, in today's video, I'm going to review the 2023 Royal Rumble PLE, Premium Live Event. So, let's get started. Um, First is the Men's Royal Rumble match. Okay, the thing about this was there really wasn't any major surprises in the match other than Logan Paul being in it. And we haven't seen him since Saudi Arabia show last year. Um, Other than that, there were some cool spots like the mid-air collision between Logan Paul and Ricochet. Um, and then the interaction, and then the storylines mixing together with like Gunther, um, Brock Lesnar, uh, Braun Strowman, and all them, and Bobby Lashley. So that was pretty cool. Congrats to Cody for winning, but at the same time, that was sort of predictable to the most part. Um, Now, the next match is the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. Now, the thing about this match was it was no something like a Firefly Funhouse Inferno match or any sort of the shenanigan matches they've had in the past, like the Firefly Funhouse match, uh, Inferno match, the Firefly Funhouse match, and so forth. Um, this was just straight a wrestling match. The only difference was, um, one was the ridiculous amount of branding for Mountain Dew Pitch Black, and two, it was like it looked something like you would find in like a paint, sort of like a paintball thing or something that bright. So it was like very bright colors. It was like very neon like. It was cool to say the least. I will give it that. And it was neat because it showed some of the creativity Bray Wyatt can do under something like that. Now what makes it different than the well, I think it was called like blackout match or something like that that Wendy Chu and Tiffany Stratton did in NXT not long ago was this was more colorful than that. While the Tiffany Wendy was just like straight like just black lights mostly without any um, color. This was more color. Bray Wyatt had what looked like glow paint on him, and then these really cool contacts in his eyes and stuff like that. Now, when the match was done, Bray got this like mask. It looked like a mask you'd seen like a horror movie or something. Um, as LA tried to escape, they went to like this little side area, and Bray followed him, and then Uncle Howdy on like a little platform above basically dived into him, and a big explosion. From there, I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. Next is Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's title. This this match was disappointing to say the least because they're both talented women, but they were given barely 10 minutes for this match. Alexa got a couple of different offense maneuvers in, but Bianca did the KOD and won. Um, where this goes from here, I'm not entirely sure. Because more than likely, as of now, which I will get to here in a second, the winner of the women's match, which I will talk about here in a minute, will challenge her for that title at WrestleMania. So where does that leave Alexa in this? I'm not entirely sure. I will do a separate video for that. Now, which leads us into the Women's Royal Rumble match. Now, this match was the weird one on the show because in previous years, it has mostly opened the show, and so typically the men's closes the show. So it was weird having the women's almost in the show, but much like Gunther in the men's match, where Rhea Ripley did that for the women's. She started at number one. The first two was Rhea and Lacey Evans, I think. Anyway, so there were some surprises in this match, more than the men's. Like, you had people from NXT in the mix. Now, why there wasn't people from NXT in the men's, I don't know. So you had people like Roxanne Perez, um, Zoe Stark, Indy Hartwell are the main three big NXT people that was on the show. Now, why you couldn't have people like Toxic Attraction in it, I'm not entirely sure. I just don't know if there wasn't enough space booked. I don't know. The other surprises that were on the show was Asuka coming back with her old Japan gimmick, which was Kana. That has been rumored for a while, which is probably the reason why she's not been on TV since I believe it was around War Games back in November. And then the other big one was uh, Nia Jax coming back. Now, also Chelsea Green. Now, it was rumored Chelsea has signed a contract with WWE for a while. They were just trying to figure out where, how to get her back creatively. So, and then, so the final four came down to Rhea, Liv Morgan, that was number two, Asuka, Kana, and Nia. No, not Nia Jax. I forgot who the fourth one was. And so I love the elimination they did for that. Now, once they eliminated the fourth person, it became three. Now, the part I liked about this was that this last sequence of events took place over on the side of the ring, which typically is the hardest part of the ring. So you had Asuka, Kana, uh, Rhea, and Liv Morgan. Now, this was cool because one, Asuka started doing her mist again, um, and she was aiming it for Rhea, but it ended up in Liv's face. So Rhea eliminated Kana. So then Rhea was kind of like on the edge as well. So, um, Liv, even though she was blinded, she was trying to get Rhea off the side of the ring. Unfortunately, Rhea did something and eliminated Liv. So, overall, now we get to the main part of the show, which is Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. Now, it's not going to be so much the match that people are going to remember for this, it's going to be the angle after it. Um, the match itself was good. There were some brutal spots in the match. Um, like Roman basically slamming Kevin Owens' head into the back of the steps twice. Um, and so finally, after some spears and stuff like that, Roman won. So as now we get to the main part of this. Uh, as one of the Usos was going to put the flower thing on Sammy, Roman stopped him. Basically, it was where um, basically Sammy had to prove that he belonged in the bloodline. Now, this sort of goes back to the trial of Sammy on Raw 30 this past Monday. So, as Roman turned to do something, history repeated itself, and Sammy hit Roman. And so then you started to get this decline of the bloodline, where one of the Usos, I think it was Jay, was like, "What are you doing?" And so he walked off. So you had Jimmy in the ring with him and Sokoa beating the crap out of Kevin and Sammy. Meanwhile, Kevin was handcuffed to the ring while they did a super kick party. And this that was the main angle. This is more of you have to go back and look at it scenario because it's really hard to describe, but it was pretty cool to see. Um, Overall, with the host show, besides the two Rumble matches, the host show was good. While it was not super impressive, um, it it was a good enough show. Um, I do wish there was more NXT stars on it, representing NXT in a way for Vengeance Day next week. Um, and then also I do wish there was more of the past superstars appearances. The only major ones was really Michelle McCool and Booker T in the men's. There wasn't any for the women's. Um, so overall, I give the show a 7 out of 10.